This is the Blue Collar Future podcast where we talk about the future of trade work. So, had a crazy couple of weeks. Um, last week and a half probably has been a real push to get this house done. Last week we had about four or five different trades coming in, finishing up what they were doing. Um, Appliances were delivered the day of our final inspection, and we got our final inspection and started moving stuff in and been moving stuff since and unpacking and unboxing, and it's a crazy busy time for us. And not to mention that we're super busy uh, with pouring concrete, so we have been super busy, and the weather's kind of getting in our way a little bit, and kind of prolonging those days, or making those days go a little longer. So it's just been a wild couple of weeks, all weekend moving stuff. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I am now more or less settled in, and I'm excited to kind of get back into doing more with this podcast. And I think that I'm going to be hopefully releasing a guest interview this upcoming week. I'm going to be pushing more towards that. I couldn't hardly push any guest interviews the last couple months because we've been so busy, and there's still work to do on the house, but not nearly as much. We got it all done, and I kind of want to talk about some things. Go back to the trade specific topics that I was talking about the last few episodes, or where I had themed episodes based on a specific trade, because in this house I got to experience quite a few different trades, and because we did a lot of the work ourselves, so I got to try my hand at a bunch of different trades. There was one day I think I was doing four. I did four different trades in the one day, and not in huge amounts, and obviously not professionally because I'm a concrete guy. That's the only thing I do professionally. But the other stuff, like, I've had enough experience doing across my years that I can say that I've done them. So I mean, one day, obviously, I was doing concrete that day, and on my house, I was doing some stone masonry on my fireplace, which that was a super fun project, and I probably will be talking a little bit more about that and what's going to kind of come later from that. We were also installing cabinets, and I also was doing some drywall repair. So, well, actually, no, I was we were doing drywall in general on our range hood because we sheetrocked and put the corner bead on and put some mud on there, getting ready to plaster it because it's going to have plaster go over it. So was able to work on a few different trays, and then throughout in one day, and throughout this project we have done um, a lot of different trades. We did the excavation and prep work and laying out the lot, all of the concrete work. Obviously, I was here when the framers were here helping a lot during that, and we built and installed all the cabinets. Any any small things here and there, we um, did a lot of the major trades we hired out. But I did my fireplace. I had planned on painting and doing flooring, but we ended up having somebody else do it. Um, and I've pretty much been here every day for the last 6 months, working um, every weekend. And the last 2 months, pretty much all day, every day, and all day, every day on the weekends. We did all of the finish work in the house too. So all the trim, hanging the doors, doing all that type of stuff. And I had a lot of people helping me on this project, and it was a really good experience. And I probably, if we build another house at some point, I'll probably do a lot of the same stuff. Kind of wanted to go over some things I really took away from doing these. Think the things that we spent the most time doing, that I spent the most time doing, was the finish work, the cabinet install, and my fireplace. Uh, that was out of the norm for me. So the finish work was fun, and I've done finish work before on other um, house projects like that my parents have done and stuff. But finish work after a while gets super just tedious. It was interesting because we would come and show up, and my father-in-law helped a ton on it. He was here every day with me doing the finish work, and he's done a lot of that in his life. So it was good to have his expertise here. But we would show up and see this big pile of trim out in the garage, and like after the doors were hung, it seemed like that pile was never ending. It seemed like we would spend all day working and feel like we got a lot done, and then go into the garage and that pile just like barely a dent in it. Doesn't even look different. There was a bunch of days like that, and it just got super repetitive and tedious. I think it was fun because I like to do detail work, and it was a change of pace for me because um, like as a carpenter in concrete construction, you do form a lot of form setting and working with lumber and stuff, but it's all pretty rugged, like not precise. A lot of that stuff doesn't matter. You don't need to get everything within, a 32nd of an inch, which if you're doing trim work, a lot of times you really want to be right on the dot on measurements. And with concrete um, carpentry, you really don't need to be right on it, anything realistically, because it's just a guideline for when your concrete comes in. You want to be close, obviously, because why set the forms, but you don't need to be dead on anything. So it's a different change of pace for me because it's a lot more focus and making cuts exact um, than I'm used to. And I would enjoy doing finish work if that was what I did. But at the same time, I might not, because it's just a lot of tedious, repetitive stuff throughout the whole house, especially if you're working on a bigger house where, you know, we're only we're only around 2,000 square feet on what we did, or maybe even less than that on not very many doors to hang. Like, really didn't do a lot of that type of stuff. What was fun about doing the finish work was having the different things to work on, like being able to work on the doors and the casing around the doors, the baseboard, um, laying out the closets and building the shelving in the closets, and all that type of stuff. Being able to have kind of a change of pace there, but it was still tedious, and just like I said, seems like it, didn't ever make a dent in anything. The cabinet installation process was a little frustrating, finding the best way to um, secure them to the wall and mount them. And basically, we ordered the cabinets from a company here, local, but they sent them to us in um, not assembled. So they machined the melamine pieces and sent them to us all in slabs, and then we put them together and then installed them and put them in place. So that was interesting. It was a different process, obviously, than I'm used to, and also another um, pretty exact thing that I'm not used to doing. But it wasn't, I don't think I enjoyed that as much. Um, the thing I enjoyed the most, other than doing the concrete, because I was able to do some pretty cool concrete things on my house that we don't usually get to do, was doing the fireplace and the stone masonry. That's kind of what I wanted to get to because working on that fireplace made me realize that I can do some different forms of masonry and offer that to people. And I think that is the coolest part about doing all of these different trades on my own house and being able to work on them and get some experiences, finding out things I like. I really enjoyed doing stonemasonry. And it's not really that, I didn't really pick a very difficult way to go about it because it's a, climate controlled environment with stone veneer, manufactured stone, which is only like an inch and a half thick. You really just put mud on the back of the stone and stick it on the wall. There's a little bit of uh, pattern that you need to go off of, like masonry best practices that I got some help with from Slim Brick, which a lot of you guys might know. I'm Jesse Demler, but it wasn't like I jumped right into full stone masonry where you've got to put these big stones on the wall and wire them to the wall and do all of this stuff. It's pretty rudimentary, um, easy stuff, but fun. I really enjoyed it. And it occurred to me that I could offer those types of services to people that spruce up people's fireplaces and do that type of thing. And it was super fun. I poured a concrete hearth that I basically formed um, 6 inches thick and then put foam in the middle or put foam down and towards the back in the middle, centered in that space to allow me some space on the sides of it to go on the framing that I had the framers build out for me. So I did a 16-inch hearth and we had a 12-inch frame off of the 5 foot wide fireplace. And I think I did my hearth about 5 foot 6, if I remember right. So I pretty much was hanging over the edge a couple inches each way. Um, Poured that in my garage when we were doing a lot of the exterior concrete. I think when we were doing our stamped borders, front walk, uh, and our curb wall on the outside, I poured that little hearth, troweled it smooth, left it in the garage for a while until the painter got done and out of the way so I could go put it in the house. And we pretty much just construction adhesive glued it down, and um, stones are sitting on it right now and it's kind of sitting right in place. But that was fun to do something a little bit different with my concrete masonry skills. Like instead of just, pouring driveways and basements and that type of stuff. That's why I've always liked doing stairs when we do stairs because it's a little bit change of pace. This is even more of a change of pace because we don't ever do um, small projects like that. That's you know it's kind of out of the normal for us. So I was able to do that and planning out where my mantle's going to go. And then we put our TV up on the fireplace, and it's a little high up there, but it's in the best spot for the space in our house because kind of the fireplace is kind of the center of the living room area, and there's not really anywhere else to put it. So I know that it's funny because I've found a lot of people that apparently have a problem with TVs that are hanging too high and going up over fireplaces, and that's not even been a common thing to do until the last 15-ish years when TVs have been getting skinnier and skinnier and lighter, and now they can be hanging up on the wall. And it used to be they were so heavy that you were worried about them punching through your main level of your floor, uh, not even being able to barely even able to get them in your house. But there's it's a kind of a trend here in American interior design. It's not the greatest trend, but it's also a decent place to put it because it's in the center of the room still. And they actually make TV mounts that obviously they have the ones that pull out and move around, but they have ones that pull out and then pull down off the wall so you can move it down about 20, 21, 22 inches, I think, from ones I've seen. So if you put your TV up too high, you can have it up there, but pull it down to where you want to view it, which is nice, but that's neither here nor there. So we were planning, I had to plan where my mantle was going to go and where that TV was going to go so that I could start to map the stones around the fireplace. Um, and it was a fun project for me to have a change of pace and to realize that I can do that um, as side work. And I actually, after that, have kind of been looking for some more stonework projects. I think my parents are actually having me do theirs because they don't have um, stone all on their fireplace. But I'm gonna do stone on my curb wall. It's been recommended to me, which I think will be super cool to have on there. And on any next houses I do, that is going to be a trade that I add to my workload on the house. So I'll probably, on houses to come, will probably do everything I did on this house, also exterior stonework, because it's not too hard depending on what stone you do. And it was fun. It was fun. And it's something I want to learn how to do more. And I think from this house project, that is my biggest takeaway is being able to try my hand at different trades and see what I like, um, which goes along with advice I'm always giving people uh, that you just need to pick a trade and get started. But I think you could go try a couple different ones and see what you like. Interestingly enough, I think that if what you wanted to do is build houses, you could work for a few different over a span of 10 years. You could work for 3 or 4 different trades, you know, a few years at a time and get the experience, figure out what you like. Some of them are transferable. If you were a framer or if you like me did concrete and you were able to be a concrete carpenter, a lot of that translates over to framing. It's just working with lumber and power tools and hammers and nails, and a lot of that translates over even over to finish work. Um, it's it ends up paying off trying all of these out. And if you were able to work for a few different contractors over the span of 10 years and then decide that you want to go build houses, um, and you have now this specific overview of different trades, but also a general overview because you were able to see how different trades overlap and work together and stuff. Um, that would be a perfect segue into building houses. Um, there's a lot of ways to go about it, but trying out different trades is always the good way to go about it. And that's kind of what I wanted to get to here is find things that you like, and if you enjoy them, um, it will be more than just a job for you. And what I always also say is, on the flip side of that, I didn't always enjoy concrete. In fact, I didn't like it for a long time, but I started to enjoy it. And now, I mean, I honestly like it quite a bit. And then, especially when we do projects that are um, like things like that little fireplace hearth that I did, and stuff like that, it's it's super fun to be able to plan something out in your mind and take this material that is basically rocks, powder, and water, and turn it into something that's going to last forever. Um, I've had a new appreciation for doing concrete, and the skills that I've obtained through doing concrete that also apply to other things across the board that helped me out when I was doing the stonemasonry, that I'm plastering my foundation, which is helping a lot with that. There's just a lot of things that it crosses over to, and really enjoyed it. So yeah, that's all I've got for today. You guys are going to see more detail going into this podcast over the next few months, because I really feel disconnected um, the last 6 months from the way that it used to be for me, the way this podcast was going and growing. And I miss doing the interviews, especially in-person interviews, and being able to talk to different people all the time. That was, I think, my favorite thing about doing this podcast was just being able to sit down with people and talk about their experiences in the trades and stuff. Uh, and there might be some people here that I bring on as a return guest here soon. We'll see. But regardless, I plan on doing getting back right into the swing of things with this. Appreciate everybody for sticking with me. And as always, if you got anything out of it, share with a friend who you think will get something out of it, and we will see you next week.